Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Thank you guys for joining us once again.
And thank you for your pay. Oh, cool. Looky here. Who do we have already? We have Nunya, Texas on the back 20. We have DG57. Annie Luhu. It's great to see you guys.
It is Risers in the house. Osboy,
Osboy, Riser, Melissa. Hi, you guys.
Joseph Benson. Yeah, all is well with us.
Yep.
We're just recovering from our first snowfall of the year, and it's an early one at that.
Oh, yeah, that was really nice. That was so wintry and wondery, and I loved it.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Ms. K's in the house. Dana Green, Udara. Did you guys get any snow in Texas?
Yeah, what does your guys' weather look like where you're at?
Hey there, Kenny Crowder. Good to see you guys. John T. Rita up in Toronto.
Great to see you. Wow, the room's filling up really fast. Oh, Miss Mary Davison, great to see you.
Arizona Raven. Good to see you as well. Cold and rainy over there in Texas, huh? Yeah, and they got ice and snow in Kansas, Joseph says. Much love, Mary. Thank you for the hearts to everybody out there. Patricia, good to see you. And we got Julio Gaetan. Hello again. Another one in Texas. We got a lot of people in Texas in the house.
Mm-hmm. Great to see everybody from Texas. Oh, it's really good to see everybody from everywhere.
Yeah, that was quite an Arctic plunge. And that was an amazing turnabout from what's been, talking to the locals here, relatively very dry and warm.
Yeah.
And, to go from that, where every day is like, 76, 78, really nice for October. And then all of a sudden, overnight low was like 15 or 16.
Oh, I know. And, this happened a few weeks back, and there was like this poor bird die off, according to the news. We didn't see anything dead, but they said it was because we took a really deep plunge in the weather.
Moon Fairies in the house. Susu T-Dog. Good to see you guys. Southern California representing. Chance Wybark. Good to see you as well. Susan Donahue. Seems like it's been a while since we talked to you. And Riser, you're so welcome. We worked with Riser today. And he says you guys gave me some amazing energy work today. I'm so grateful for you guys. I took your advice and brought my grandma some of that turmeric. That's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, turmeric for inflammation. It's also a cancer preventative. Definitely can help in many, many ways. Michelle, good to see you. Good to see you, Jeff. Awesome. Okay, so Oscar says, what's a CME? Yeah, two things we're going to mention again. A CME, which is a coronal mass ejection. Think of it as the sun sneezing, I guess you could say, sort of.
Yeah, you could think of it as a sun sneeze.
Yeah, sort of like that. Or like snake shedding skin and sending it flying out throughout the solar system at incredible speeds.
That's not as pretty a thought.
She doesn't like that one. We are roaming. Michelle wants to know where we are. We've been everywhere from, California over into Nevada, a lot of time there with family, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, a little bit of Texas as well. So we have been roaming and enjoying, just meeting different people and all. And Mary says she's been taking turmeric and valerian root. It's good, definitely. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about here, guys, and we do have in this some stuff that we're going to talk about that we've gotten through channeling, which in this case has been some middle of the night channeling that Cindy doesn't even know she was doing it, because sometimes she will just start talking in the middle of the night, and and I'll ask who it is, and it's usually the Galactic Federation with Laurel, sometimes others. Sometimes it could be some other guides. And then there's also another Pleiadian that comes through at times. It's a little bit more warrior-like and protective, Kira. So we're going to talk about some of the stuff that they've been telling us, and just for everybody to prepare for this upcoming time period. Really, there's a lot going on here right now, Earth changes wise, to tell you guys about too, just to touch on. But most definitely, we are entering a pivotal period in time. The time period between the election and inauguration is going to be a roller coaster ride. And it is going to be a hang on tight, and we got to be prepared for everything. But at the same time, we want to prepare, but not be in fear. And that's a tightrope to thread for some. You have to kind of build that little bit of a Buddhist detachment so we don't get drawn in.
That's really, really important. And, interestingly enough, the star alignment that we have is very similar to the star alignment we had back when we had all those hanging chads with Bush and Gore. So that alignment has come back around. So there's a lot of interesting things that could happen with this election.
Yeah, and we talked about the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. So you have that in the middle of December as well. It's December 21st, right? And Jupiter and Saturn in conjunction can be a very, very tense thing.
Oh, gosh, yes. It's like, I guess two siblings that have total polar opposite personalities facing off.
Yeah, and of course we've had Mars in some interesting positions as well, and Rahu and Ketu.
Oh, yeah.
Also. So astrologically, we are in, again, quite a roller coaster ride. This is really what we got. Good to see Renee Matthews made it as well. And okay, guys, so check this out. I didn't think this was real at first, but apparently it is. Zeta is bringing in 50-foot waves just south of Louisiana right now. Look at that. Whoa. And so it's moving fast, which is good in the sense that it won't be sitting in one spot like we've seen before, like in the Carolinas it was Florence, I believe, that just sat there and moved at 1 or 2 miles an hour. So it won't necessarily be sitting there for hours dumping tons and tons and tons of rain. But wow, it is bringing some water with it. So with this one, we have to be really aware, and hopefully everybody is by now, because it is hitting as we speak, of storm surge.
And I don't like that name Zeta. I just don't. It has a bad tone to it.
Why? You have something against the Zeta Reticulans?
Maybe that's it.
Well, yeah, I know Greys are not your friends,
No,
but
not.
Greys are worker bees that are used all over the galaxy. So you'll find them with the benevolent and the malevolent.
Yeah, they can program them too. But the thing you have to remember with the Greys is they're programmed, and they do as they're told, period.
Yes, very true. And then there's biological Greys, and then there's the ones that are not biological at all. And so you're really talking about the non-biological mostly.
Right. Yep.
Well, I mean, they do use DNA from people, though, in it as well.
I guess that maybe that's where I don't like that name Zeta.
Okay. Well, anyway, so we got 50-foot waves coming in. So this hurricane has likely created a trapped fetch where the waves moving with the storm and just growing huge. And, again, that makes me be very, very concerned about storm surge. And storm surge could be a big one. If you guys checked out today's earlier video that we did, we were talking about the fact that I found it amazing that in New Orleans they have 100-year-old turbines they're relying on. 100 years old, 1920s, roaring 20s, just after World War I, that they're relying on. They're relying on 100-year-old. It just boggles the mind. 100-year-old machinery to keep New Orleans above water. Where
do our tax dollars go?
That's a good question. That is a big question. And so, this could be a big one with the storm surge. And it did rapidly intensify, so it did get up to 110 mile an hour winds, which again, I view it as a little bit unusual, because usually when they get closer to land, and they were talking about as it gets closer to land, there's going to be more wind shear, and that usually weakens. But why did it strengthen? That makes me very dubious of some
It
things.
does, and my heart just goes out to these folks because this is like the third time. That's insane.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and but it is what we got. And then our brother Mark, those of you know him as Wages World, formerly Blue Kool-Aid, was talking about this on a live last night, and possible glancing blow. So remember, we have that November 2nd, quote unquote, asteroid that might come by and be very, very close. And maybe we'll have a CME coming by on November 1st. And again, this is a coronal mass ejection. So it's kind of a plasma bomb heading out into space in a way.
It is. And thank you so much, Robert Johnson, for your support. It's so much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, we appreciate that so much, Robert. We can't do it without your guys' support. And, it's the sun's going to be waking up. That's the bottom line. We're heading into a new sun cycle. And so it's going to be waking up. It's going to be getting more active, and we're going to get more of these. And with the magnetosphere weekend, even a smaller CME can cause issues, So this is one of the things that we got from the Galactics. And they were saying that in this time period that we're entering now, November through January, especially, to be prepared for prolonged outages. There's a high possibility that we're going to see some power outages, the grid going down, and it would be a good idea for everybody to be prepared for maybe 3 weeks with that type of condition. Can you survive 3 weeks just staying home? Just reading books, doing do you have enough food? Do you have enough water? Do you have everything you need? Now is really the time to make sure that it's more like a final prep time because it's like the curtain is rising on the show right now for the next act.
It is. And for moms who are prepping for other people and your own children, double check your diapers. Sometimes those babes grow up like so super fast. They're in one size one day and then another 2 sizes up the next day. And you definitely don't want to be short on those things. And, and then all the other things that we need. So it's like a final check, do your checklist, rotate all of your goods, and just have everything ready. How much water does any one person need in a day, and just have that ready.
Yeah. Where we're at, we have a 2,500 gallon tank that's totally full. So that's a blessing. At the same time, we were running low on water. So she dragged me out to the store, even though we're going to go shopping tomorrow again. Yeah. And so we had a coronal mass ejection produced by a C 4.3 flare. That was at 6:16 UTC on the 27th, and that was analyzed by the SWPC and determined that it could be a possible glancing blow on November 1st. And it's taken a while for us to get these messages out that we want to give you guys now, because we're trying to be super cautious to word them in such a way that we are not trying to scare anybody, but at the same time we want you guys to get ready and prepare, and that's because they want us to get you guys ready and prepare. We have a lot of people haven't had good sleep lately, and I'll get back to that in a second. So the source of the flare was a large AR2778, which produced multiple B and C class flares on the 27th. And so if they say, possibility of a glancing blow, we should be prepared. And just like I shared with you guys, we do have a decent amount of food, and we typically eat like once a day and maybe sometimes have a little snack afterwards. So we're good to go for quite a while, yet, going to go back out, I think, tomorrow, since tomorrow we are not packed with people, and just do another quick, like making sure we got all the bases covered type thing, because it very well may be the conditions may arise where we might have to just kind of stay home. And of course, if you guys look today too, you saw France and Germany, if you went and checked the news, they're back on a complete lockdown.
And thank you so much, Moon Fairy. We really appreciate your guys' support. Everybody in there. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Moon Fairy. We really couldn't do it without your guys' support. Shannon says 1 gallon a day per person. Yeah, that's definitely, you know, a good gauge to go by there. So yeah, you know, this is something to really be aware of. And CME is one thing, EMP is another. And we've talked about EMP. We talked about EMPs and some misconceptions. And of course, with the geopolitical situation, that's another thing we should be really, really concerned with as well. Lots of ominous signs out there, but yet we should take them as wake-up calls, and also, you know, keep working on the spiritual side, meditation. You know, it's amazing how many people we deal with on a regular basis that, you know, we'll have a session with them. I'll send them some videos and some info. You know, usually I love to get them to start practicing QiGong, doing one of the videos for QiGong, and then, you know, maybe perhaps doing some mantras and meditation afterwards. And then when we talk to them after the session, like a week later, 2 weeks later, huge difference.
Yeah, they're doing much better, and that really can change a lot of things. Just changing your energy, you know, having your energy balanced and calm down and settle down. You'd be surprised at how congruent that can make you with your surroundings. It's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I do see it is buffering. Unfortunately, there's not we could do with the connection. And yeah, it just seems like it always happens when we get a live going here. Yeah, exactly. Try to frustrate us. So yeah, definitely be prepared. And again, you know, what we got was the likelihood was something that might last 3 weeks, at least in this initial period of time. The government themselves in the United States a couple of years back said, you know, be ready for 6 months with no help from your government and with the grid down. You know, so they told us themselves, be prepared for 6 months. So it's a good idea to be prepared. That's the bottom line, especially in these times with everything that's going on. There's so many different things coming out right now that are hitting us from all different angles. And so we see a new Arctic methane bomb starting to release in Siberia. And this is something we've talked about in the past too. You know, there's so much methane being released in the melting permafrost in both Siberia, up in Alaska, and some other places around the world as well that might surprise you, like off of the North Carolina coast, believe it or not, in the ocean. And methane contributes much more to the changing climate than, you know, greenhouse gases from your car's emissions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's just so many things that we need to be like ready for.
Yeah, and yeah, as you see, Arctic, well, maybe you guys don't see quite yet. Looks like the photo is lagging. Arctic methane bomb. They're serious about this. A research team made a worrisome discovery off the Siberian coast. The scientists claim that frozen methane deposits in the Arctic Ocean have started to be released after determining that methane levels at the ocean's surface were 4 to 8 times higher than expected. You know, that's a lot. 4 to 8 times higher than expected. That's incredible. And these high levels of the potent greenhouse gas have been detected down to a depth of 350 meters in the Laptev Sea near Russia. The 60-member team on the Akademik Keldysh believe that they are the first to observationally confirm the methane release is already underway across a wide area of the slope 600 kilometers offshore. At 6 monitoring points over a slope area 150 kilometers in length and 10 kilometers wide, they saw clouds of bubbles released from sediment. At one location in the Laptev Sea slope, at a depth of about 300 meters, they found methane concentrations of up to 1,600 nanomoles per liter, which is 400 times higher than would be expected if the sea and the atmosphere were in equilibrium. So this is huge. And so Igor Semeletov of the Russian Academy of Sciences, who is the chief scientist on board, said the discharges were significantly larger than anything found before. The discovery of actively releasing shelf slope hydrates is very important and unknown till now. This is a new page. Potentially they can have serious climate consequences, but we need more study before we can confirm this. The most likely cause of the instability is an intrusion of warm Atlantic currents into the East Arctic. Now, this is the second time we heard about that. And it gets me thinking about, the Beaufort Gyre again. And when that flushes out, then the Gulf Stream stops. And, it stops going up and, feeding nice warm water and warm air with it into, northern New England and over into Canada and over into Europe. And so then you're going to get extreme rapid cooling. Again, it's the scenario in the movie The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm looking at this, I'm feeling like they really don't know how bad this can get.
I'm going to go change some settings, I think, guys, because I see that the photo is lagging. Okay, everything is okay over there. See if we could change it over here as we try to get over there. So this is huge. This is huge. We are getting really close to like a major shift occurring. Okay, well, that's moving now. Okay, well, that's a little bit better. Here we got the CME. It's going to be probably a glancing blow, or it's a good chance for that. And then they're telling us of this, this methane release. And this is the second time this week I've seen this about the intrusion of the warm Atlantic currents into East Arctic. And by the way, Arctic sea ice is at the lowest levels that they've recorded in like forever. And yet northern hemisphere snowfall totals are high and it's building. So there's this like big shift underway. And it just feels like something's going to go kind of boom. Something's going to really pop.
It does feel like that. And there's a big shift on many different levels too. It's not just the earth. It's not just with human beings. It's political, it's social. I mean, everything is coming to this kind of climax. It's strange.
Fire-like Warrior says the brown dwarf is here, or almost here, so get on the Kraton. The Kraton, if you guys follow Dutch, you know what the Kraton is. It's the most stable portion of the, continental shelf there, and it should be the most secure. And that's a good idea for sure. We have to think about where we are and then just basically do the best we can where we are. And if you have options, like we had one client that we were working on today, and she's a regular, and thankfully her ex is in a very safe spot, and so she's like debating. She's almost to that point where it's like, maybe I'm better off going to that spot. Is it time? Is it not time? Because a lot of people do have, perhaps bug out places. They have family members in some areas, and that's one of those things where it's develop the practice of meditation so you can hear the inner voice and get the guidance.
And that's another thing that might touch on this show about the hearing the inner guidance, and that it's a really important time to quiet your mind to get that information.
So for the second year in a row, this research team found crater-like pockmarks in the shallower parts of the Laptev Sea and the eastern Siberian Sea that are discharging bubble jets of methane, which is reaching the sea surface at levels tens to hundreds of times higher than normal. And, the rapid period of change with the Earth changes. Now, we've been getting from the galactics that, you're going to see this constant, going up. Yeah. You're just climbing stairs. It's like climbing stairs or climbing a ladder. You're just going to a higher level, another higher level. But we believe it or not, you still have some time before the big things happen. But that doesn't mean that we can't have a 8 point something anytime. We can't have a massive, VE7 eruption anytime.
And most important thing right now is to raise your vibration so that things around you might not have the severity as they may otherwise have had.
So this is concerning. New deadly disease dubbed Vexus gives men fever, blood clots, and inflammation. Now this might not be your zombie apocalypse type of new thing out there. It's a new rare syndrome that they're finding in men. And there are likely hundreds of men in the United States, if not more, who suffer from a just discovered genetic disease that causes symptoms including blood clots in veins, recurrent fevers, lung system abnormalities, and in 40% of the patients, death. It's new, so they're not seeing tremendous amounts of cases of this. But whenever you see something like this come out, it really gives you cause for concern, of course. So researchers from the National Institute of Health discovered the disease named Vexus by working backwards. Rather than grouping people with similar symptoms and searching for biological explanations, they searched the genetic makeup of 2,500 people for variations that could be linked to a wide-ranging symptoms of their undiagnosed inflammatory conditions. And we had many patients with undiagnosed inflammatory conditions who were coming into the NIH Clinical Center, and we were just unable to diagnose them, said Dr. David Beck, a clinical fellow at NHGRI and the lead author of the paper. That's when we had the idea of doing it the opposite way. Instead of starting with symptoms, start with a list of genes. Then study the genomes of undiagnosed individuals and see where it takes us. Using that method, the scientists eventually identified 3 middle-aged men who all had the same mutations in a gene called UBA1. They later discovered 22 other men with the same mutation and similar symptoms, blood clots and fevers. And the research team named the disease Vexus after its key characteristics. Vacuoles, which are unusual cavity-like structures in certain cells. E1 enzyme, which is related to UBA1. X-linked, per the chromosome it's connected to, the X, so that's the male. Autoinflammatory, meaning the immune system accidentally attacks the body. And somatic, since the condition seems to pop up sometime during the patient's life rather than at birth. And again, I just wonder if it's something that perhaps is being triggered due to exposure to perhaps some other vectors.
Right. It could be. This is very, very concerning. This kind of gives me chills. I don't like it.
Yeah, most definitely don't like seeing these new things. So one of the other things that we got from the Galactics was preparation for what will appear to be a second wave, and so everybody should be prepared for that. And so with the numbers that are being shown to us, and again, we all have our particular thoughts about those numbers. As we know, numbers can be fudged, most definitely. Still, the results are that we're seeing a sweeping wave of lockdowns coming back in. And so they were telling us to be aware of that, but also be aware of the potential for something that might be taken to be that, which we have been talking about for the whole year, the thing that starts with a C, but is not exactly that. There might be something that is different, new, that is assumed to be that, but might be something that we should take seriously. So again, be prepared, because I know there's a lot of people out there. I mean, we're all tired of it. We all would love life to go back to normal, or to create a much better normal than we've had. And when this first came out too, we were just saying, just be cautious, because you just don't know, and I know a lot of people will take hard lines one way or another. I think it's always best to be flexible and to take precautions, but at the same time, of course, you want to live your life. And so there is the potential out there for there being something that might appear to be the same or a continuation of this, but it's not really. But it is something we should take seriously. So again, why not be good about hand washing and things like that, and just be aware.
And really basic stuff like vitamin D3, super important, they've discovered with this issue that we have going on that starts with a C. And no processed foods, 0 high fructose corn syrup. So that's just a couple of super easy things that you can start right now to be prepared.
Yeah, most definitely. And thank you, Linda. We appreciate you and everybody out there. And, and thank you guys for putting up with the buffering and all, because we know how this is. This is what's been happening to this channel like for 3 years plus now. It's just a matter of the information. They know who we are, and they know that they want to stop certain messages from getting through. So, and as Mary said, this is the highest thing. This is the most important thing, keeping your vibrations high. That is the key, because the more fear, that will lower your vibrations and make you more susceptible to whatever else is out there.
And thank you so much, Mary, for bringing that up, because really the galactics, if they could push one thing, it's raise your vibration.
And, we did a video which was well received, talking about reincarnation, and we've talked about how the fact that we are basically spiritual beings. We are consciousness itself having this 3D experience, but we go on, and so when we're done with this, it's like, okay, we could view this life, and most definitely this particular life in this time period, as a roller coaster ride, and then at some point in time we get off the roller coaster, and then we review. And when we did that reincarnation video, after we did it, I said to Cindy, damn, I forgot to bring up what you have, what she has helped me with, understanding how things go on the other side. And we did touch on this. When somebody passes on, it's not like they immediately go and get born again right away. It's not like, boom, you're straight back into another body. There's a point of review and a period of review, and for each person it's unique, and often it could take a long time. So, when my mom passed on earlier this year, the day before she passed on, she was in and out of consciousness, and I felt her touch my chin because she hated me having facial hair. So she would always tug on it and just tell me to shave. And, I would always say, no, I'm never going to shave again. And that would really get her irritated. So I knew it was her, and I knew she was getting close to moving on. And so when she did pass on, Cindy was able to see her, and I did feel her by my bedside one night, and I actually could feel her putting her hand in my hand. And what Cindy, told me was that, at the end, she had always been a very active woman, able to move amazingly well and walk miles. Even in her 80s, she could walk miles. And she died at 90. But she was just so happy to be out of the body, because she was running around, dancing around, having a good time, carefree.
Oh, yeah. When I saw her legs moving so fast on her, she was still wearing her nightgown, which was odd, but that's what she was wearing. And her legs were moving so fast, and she walked into the bedroom, and she was just super excited. She was saying, look at me, look how fast I can walk now. And she was free, and she was happy.
And she was a jitterbugger. And I know a lot of you guys, may not know what that is, but it's an olden time dance. And so she grew up in the 40s, and during World War II is when she grew up. And she used to love to go dancing. There's nothing she liked better than dancing. So for her to not be able to move around in her last time, and Michelle was asking for our Ko-Fi, so I just sent that through, and thank you so much, Michelle. It was horrible to her to not be able to move. And so when she got on the other side, she felt such a relief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and many people do. Sometimes if a death is really traumatic, that could pose a problem. they may not know that they're dead, but then there's other people that do understand, and they try to hang out and comfort the loved ones. And then other people, they go to what I call a resting place, where they can just sort of be and get better for a little while before they move on and do anything else.
Yeah, and it's interesting because my dad had passed 20 years earlier. And so, he's not in body yet. He's still on the other side. And my mom and him had time together after they were both on the other side, but now they're doing their own things. So, I'm blessed to have a wife that is amazing. And I don't think she really realizes just how unique she is. She has incredible gifts. And it really gives me reassurance too, because so often I'll see something or get an impression, and then I'll start to ask her and she'll finish the sentence, or vice versa. So we get the confirmation that we know it wasn't just a coincidence, it was real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get to do a lot of that. We're very lucky to be together, and it is nice. It's nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade her for anything.
He's so sweet.
So, that's one of the things that is so important to get through, is that, again, we are spiritual beings that truly are eternal. Mm-hmm. And, we're just having this existence right now. It's an experience. It's a learning experience. And many of us are here because we are, so to speak, rebels and system busters. Mm-hmm. And you could think of it, if you want to do Star Wars terms, it's like we just landed on, the Emperor Palpatine's starship, and we're infiltrating mm-hmm. from the inside. And we're trying to raise the consciousness of people and trying to create the positive change that will lead to a new way of doing things, and truly a new planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all have a very specific mission, and we're here now. So it's really an exciting time. Exhilarating, I think the word is. That's the word.
Oh, we love you guys too. Karma Doc in the house. We love her too. And a lot of love going around for sure. Oscar says, what does ear ringing mean? Honestly, it can mean a lot of things in the old times. Before these times, right now, I think almost everybody is getting some sort of ear ringing. How many people out there have a constant hum, buzz, ring going on in your ears? It's been going on for a long time, but then the Schumann resonance, the vibration, the frequency of the planet's changing, and I think it's coinciding with that to a large degree.
Ear ringing. Sometimes it's a being trying to get your attention. Other times it's your actual vibration is going up.
Yes. And then we see a rare and dangerous ice storm engulfs Oklahoma, knocks out power to 300,000. Yeah, everywhere from Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, and Colorado for sure, all got hammered with this cold, wintry weather that was very unseasonable coming on down. But then again, that is a product of really, when you get down to it, the magnetosphere. And so, you get these variances in the jet stream that are extreme. And so we're going to be seeing things like this more often. You're going to be seeing, incredible swings. Who were we talking to? I think it was somebody in New Zealand. Was it New Zealand? They were talking about the crazy weather and the extremes as well. 40, 50 degree swings happening in one day. And in a lot of areas that doesn't happen. Some areas it does. If you're in the Dakotas, you've seen that before. In the Dakotas, you might see 110 in the summer, and you might see 30 or 40 below in the winter. It's part of it. But in some places that are usually a little bit more temperate, we're seeing that now.
Yeah, we are. So, just things are really changing, which is fun, but we need to be ready for it.
And they're talking about tree carnage because all the water froze on the branches and really wreaked havoc with so many of the trees there. And the University of Oklahoma warns students of lightning-infested sleet and freezing rainstorms. Lightning-infested. That's interesting. I've never heard that term before. But yeah, most definitely causing dangerous travel.
Please be safe out there, you guys.
Yeah. And, I've seen these videos, especially from China, where somebody will be walking on the street and then a sinkhole will open up and they just go whoosh right in. This is New York. This is the Bronx. A man swallowed by a sinkhole in the Bronx, and then he's swarmed by gigantic rats for 30 minutes until a rescue arrives.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. No, I could never handle the rats or cockroaches. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's a tough one. He was just waiting for a bus, and there's video here. He was just standing there, and then he wasn't. It just, right underneath his feet, the ground just opens right up, and he gets sucked straight down in. He is alive, but can you imagine also, I mean, we've heard all these legends about gigantic, if we're really talking legends, gigantic man-eating rats in New York City. Yeah, that's an urban legend. The man-eating part anyway. But though, if you were laying there, they probably would.
I'm sure that they would find something and just start nibbling.
Yeah. So 30 minutes corralled by rats in a sinkhole. That is absolutely brutal. So yeah, I'll have all the links for you guys. And by the way, we have October snow is falling, also in Hawaii.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, October has been one of the longest and wintriest Octobers in a very long time. Yeah, and this is from Electroverse, which is specializes in the grand solar minimum that is upon us. Some people don't think it. Some people don't believe in the grand solar minimum, as other people don't believe in man-induced global warming.
Well, there seems like they deliberately put a split in everything.
Yeah, and then of course when we have the ability to control the weather, and we have declassified documents about weather manipulation and geoengineering. Of course, you got to look at everything a little bit cynically.
Yeah, and if there's something they can put a split in just to split people up, they're going to.
Yeah, benchmarks for both the cold and snow across the northern hemisphere are not only being broken, but they're being obliterated. As National Weather Service meteorologist Corby Dickerson says, it's not normal to set this many records in this short a time, and monumental records, not like, knocking something off by like half of a degree, but, like we've seen, breaking it by like 20 degrees. It's just crazy. And yeah, as Christine says, all the time, there's records going all the time. So yeah, Karma Doc is talking about what she's seeing there, and we got to get her on the show soon, if she will do it. I think she will. She's like that. She's nice, and share some of her expertise. Of course, we have to be very careful about how we word things and talk about things in these times. But there's so much more going on than meets the eye.
Yeah, we got to watch those vocabulary words here.
So, there's obviously all these changes going on in the earth and snowy Hawaii. I want to go to Hawaii. I'm going to go do some skiing.
Right? It's beautiful.
Yeah. And not water skiing. And then also, of course, we have the plague that's been upon the land, and we have the financial aspects of the lockdown, which is just incredibly, I think, undervalued. So many people have lost their family businesses, perhaps for something that's been in the family for more than one generation. I think that's one of the things that hits me the most, as I always love to hit small mom and pops places. Like we won't really go to a big chain restaurant ever. Always mom and pops places. You want to support those little businesses. We were in a small town in Arizona recently, and there were signs up in the windows where people were saying, "Thank you so much for supporting us, supporting the locals, and these businesses that can't compete with the giants." And we've seen that the ones that are doing great are the biggest of the big in this period of time with the lockdown and everything. It's not hurting Amazon.
No.
It's not hurting Walmart. It's not hurting these massive corporate entities but it's destroying so many of the small mom and pops, the small businesses. It's just obliterating them from the map. And you know, one thing, and I think we were talking to Karma Doc about this too, is